Smell us now, lady.
Welcome to MeatEater Trivia.
MeatEater Podcast.
Welcome to MeatEater Radio Live. I'm your host, Brody Henderson, and I'm joined today by Corinne Schneider and Seth Morris. It's 11 o'clock here in Bozeman, and it's 9 a.m. out on Prince of Wales Island. We were just talking about going out to the fish shack, so that's what time it is out there. We're headed out there soon. Today, we're going to be talking with Adam Eckley from Pennsylvania Backcountry Hunters and Anglers about Sunday hunting in Pennsylvania. We're going to talk with Ted Coch from the North American Grouse Partnership about sage grouse and some other stuff. And we'll also be sharing a hot tip-off, and we're going to do a crew top 3 segment. Before we get to all that stuff, I got to let you know that it's time for round 2 of our Moultrie Trail Cam photo contest. Yeah. This one is a little different than the last one, which is like weird, funny photos. This time we want your best velvet buck trail cam photos. So I've been driving to work lately, and I drive through a couple miles of farm country, and there's this one alfalfa field where there's 3 like really nice velvet whitetail bucks right now, and I was surprised like how far along they were in like antler development. Like 3 big ones, man, and they'll never get shot. They're living where they won't get hunted. But anyway, send us your velvet buck trail cam photos. This time we're doing it different. You need to go to the MeatEater.com website and look for trail cam photo contest. We'll have an article up there, and you submit through that. And this is all for next week's show, July 31st. I'm not even sure. I think we got like some Southerners in here for that show, don't we, Phil?
I think we do.
Yeah, we got Clay and Tony, and is it?
Oh, we just got
not all
one
Southerners.
Southerner.
Is it? Oh, I was gonna say if you got all Southerners, you're gonna need like a translator in here.
Some big whitetail guys. Let's say that big whitetail guys in here next week. So we'll see what we get, what comes in for those photos, and we'll select a few of them, and those guys are going to pick a winner, and you'll get an awesome package from Moultrie and some of our other partners.
That sounds like a really nice winning.
I've never owned a trail cam.
Oh.
Really?
No.
Well, I'm with you there too. So
my wife wants me to get one just put next to the bird feeder.
Oh.
That'd be fun to watch.
Yeah. Anyway, you guys are back from safari in Tanzania,
We're back.
Africa.
It feels like we were gone forever.
I know, for a lifetime. Back and bitten. How are your tsetse fly bites healing up, Seth?
Oh, I'm all good on the tsetse fly front.
I gotta now that you mentioned those things. When I was a kid, there's this thing that like, if you got bit by a tsetse fly, you were just going to fall over and just be dead.
Oh.
Really?
It was like this weird thing like surrounding tsetse flies. Is that, how do you say tsetse or tsetse or what?
I heard
both.
Both.
Yeah.
And
used both.
Yeah. I just remember it like, oh my God, you're going to die if you go there and get bit by a tsetse fly.
Well, we would be most certainly dead if that was the case.
Yeah.
6 feet under.
We got bit by hundreds.
Yeah. Oh, yeah.
Is it like a painful bite?
Yeah.
Some of them
it hurts when they get you, or it hurts like afterwards?
It depends. What's
some
your
of them, when they bite you, it's like getting electrocuted.
Yeah.
For some reason.
Are they
it's
like the
makes you
size of a
jump.
housefly?
They're a bit bigger.
They're like a horsefly,
Yeah. And they're hard to kill. Like they have pretty tough exoskeletons. So we were told to slap and smear. And that's how you like kill them against a surface.
Are they slow enough you can get them?
No,
It depends.
apparently this is what Rick Smith was telling me. Apparently when you go to slap them, they can feel the pressure change and they fly. So it was kind of hard to just like smack them.
Yep.
Yeah.
I
just have to wait for them to like.
I found it
bite
coming in
you.
from the side and like almost grabbing them out of the air when they go to take off. That was like the best way. to get them.
Well, you survived the tsetse fly attacks.
Thanks to a lot of antihistamines.
And
Seth,
elephant shit. Burning old elephant shit in like a bucket.
Like a insect repellent type
it was
thing.
like the best repellent that we...
That is the hot tip from...
Nature provides, right?
Yep.
Seth, before you left, man, you were not too excited to be going on this trip.
I wasn't.
You were bummed.
Yeah.
Missing walleye season, all that.
Yeah.
But so I got to ask you, like, after spending more than 2 weeks there, like, what's your opinion now?
So, yeah, overall, it was a cool trip. The coolest part was just seeing the culture and like hanging out with the people there, the trackers and stuff. The whole safari hunting thing is it's not my cup of tea. Our experience, I will say, was probably different than most people's experience because so how the safari went, there was 2 vehicles. Front one had Steve and the camera dudes and trackers, and then the back vehicle, which Corinne and I spent all of our time in, was like the overflow vehicle. And you just drive around for 11 hours a day, just eating dust like you. Oh
yeah, you guys are in the. Yeah.
We didn't see shit because like the front vehicle spooks all the animals before you get there. It's just it was. So
they had a different experience.
They had a different experience than what we experienced. So
it was, anyone I think probably going on safari at various countries in Africa would probably have more of a first vehicle experience than our second vehicle experience. But I mean, we were in an area the size of Yellowstone National Park, right? And you can't exactly just set off from camp and imagine to get very far and like do spot and stalk. So it's, you close the distance between you and game. Yep. And looking for tracks and then following tracks. So the method's a bit different.
So there was days where like, the front vehicle would be like, oh, we saw this, and this. And we were like, yeah, we saw like some grasshoppers and a couple birds.
We focused on a praying mantis. We had a lot of fun watching Sally.
Yeah. Well, do you have any Seth? Did you have any the coolest or most surprising moment or experience? So, would you say it was the culture? Or was there something that stuck out for you? Or?
It was totally the culture. Yeah, we went to a village the one day and gave some meat to a family that one of the guys who worked for Robert Hurd Safaris. He had 16 kids?
Yeah, 14 or 16 up there. All.
The one day, and that was cool.
Yeah. Corinne, I heard maybe you guys weren't present when this happened, but I got to bring it up just because who was involved. There were some run-ins with some potentially deadly creatures. Dirt Myth, who famously rode on top of the back of a charging brown bear for a short period of time, also got charged by a black mamba on this trip.
They come for him. So we weren't one of the deadly snakes that we did see was a puff adder. It's a very slow moving, large, fat. They're like an ambush. Snake.
They just sit there. Yeah.
Yeah. No, it was kind of going across the road and going back into cover, and we kept our distance. But that apparently, if you do get bitten, you're done.
Yep.
And the black mamba incident, we were not present for. We were.
Yeah, that was a front vehicle experience.
Exactly. Yeah, which is okay. That's
yeah. But Dirt.
Because those things are super aggressive. They'll chase you. Right?
Yeah. Just hearing people describe what the behavior tendencies of this snake are, it's terrifying because you don't really think of a snake as being an attack predator, and so this snake kind of got I guess it was they're territorial around their area, so I guess the first truck it felt threatened by the first truck as it was crossing the road, and then it apparently turned around and stood up and almost got on the front hood of the truck, and Dirt was I guess sitting on the roof rack and filming. So that was the scare there, and then the snake turned around apparently, and like one of the trackers ran after it. That's what we saw, like Salamani with a
short
stick and a machete, or was it just the stick? Yeah, he was looking for it.
No thanks, man.
Yeah, totally no thanks.
Crazy. Well, I'm sure we'll be getting a lot of good footage from all that stuff at some point.
Yeah, that will. Those episodes will probably drop this winter, right? For season 13. I think so.
13. Yeah, whenever season 13 drops.
Yep.
Yeah, there's 2 or 3 episodes
so
we got out of it.
Stay tuned, guys.
Well, cool. We should probably move on to other stuff. Phil, do we got Adam on the line yet?
Adam's on the line. Oh, sorry. I thought you were going to cue him up first. There he is.
I'll cue him up now. We've got Adam Eckley, who is the Pennsylvania BHA chapter chair, here with us today. And Adam, man, let's get straight to the big news out of Pennsylvania. For all the people out there who aren't aware, going back many decades, Adam may know the exact time period, but I think it's maybe 100 years back. Sunday hunting was illegal in Pennsylvania under what's called a blue law, which is like these laws that were originally implemented to ban certain activities on Sundays to encourage church attendance. There's some other details surrounding blue laws, but that's like the basic gist of it. And in recent years, there's been a big push to legalize Sunday hunting in Pennsylvania. And I think a few years ago, they finally got through state legislators finally approved Sunday hunting for 3 Sundays each fall. Adam, is that correct?
That's correct. Yep.
And now, finally, just a couple weeks ago, Pennsylvania's governor signed a bill into law that allows hunting on all Sundays. And it's a really big win for hunters, especially working stiffs and school-age kids who can only hunt on weekends. So, Adam, tell us about the role that BHA played in getting this legislation passed.
Sure thing. Thanks, Brody. So the BHA Pennsylvania chapter, we were really the first national level organization to put out a statement on this subject in Pennsylvania. So a little history and a little bit of how we got to where we are. 2017, the newly formed BHA Pennsylvania chapter identifies Sunday hunting as our top legislative priority. 2018, the chapter releases a statement on Sunday hunting. We had chapter leaders speak out at a Sunday hunting meeting at the Pennsylvania Game Commission headquarters. 2018, 2019, at the Great American Outdoors Show, we had multiple parents of young kids stop by our booth specifically because of our stance on Sunday hunting. So we realized at this time, this is something that's really, really important to our members, and it's really important to Pennsylvania hunters. My predecessor, State Chair Don Rank, who now serves on the BHA National Board, personally promised a 10-year-old kid that we were going to get this done. And that kid is probably now eligible for an adult license, but here's where we are. So 2019, Senate Bill 147, that was Senator Dan Laughlin's bill, passes, which allows 3 Sundays open to Sunday hunting, starting in the 2020 and 2021 seasons. So we got a Sunday and archery season that falls in November, which sort of coincides with the peak of the rut, which is awesome. We got the first Sunday of bear season, which is the second day of the season. So we have a full opening weekend for bear hunting, and also the first Sunday of our regular rifle deer season. So we get our first full weekend of deer hunting in Pennsylvania with a rifle. So I think that was really the catalyst that kind of got the ball rolling. Then in 2021, our chapter received a donation, which helped pay for a full-time lobbyist, my good friend and mentor, John Klein, which our Pennsylvania chapter now primarily funds on our own. So our chapter leaders really ramp up visits to the Capitol to garner support for a lot of different things, but primarily with the goal of pushing Sunday hunting across the goal line. Over this time, our membership responds to numerous calls to action. Legislators receive thousands of letters, emails, phone calls. And I think one of the main keys to success here in getting our legislators to understand how important this issue is to hunters was through that correspondence. 2022, we have Representative Mandy Steele out of Allegheny County who arrives in the House, and this is where it really gets interesting. So Senator Laughlin, he's a lifelong hunter from northwestern PA. We have Representative Steele out of Allegheny County, which is, for all intents and purposes, Pittsburgh, and she's not even a hunter at this point. We've got bills coming from both chambers. We have from the House and from the Senate at this point, and BHA really jumped on board in support of Sunday hunting. Now, this is in 2024. We did have some reservations with some of the language. I personally testified for the House Game and Fisheries Committee last year and expressed both our support, but also some of our concerns in the spring.
What concerns? What was in there that you were worried about a little bit?
There were some things that were related to some of the things that, and we can get into this as far as the role that farmers and agriculture kind of played in this, but there were some things that from that side of the table that they were looking for some representation on the Game Commission board and things like that we weren't necessarily really in favor of, and we pushed back pretty strongly on that.
Right.
Yep. So we were able to, certainly have lots of conversations with all the different stakeholder groups, and we were really arrived at a place where I think everybody could kind of come to the table and agree. But 2024, there was a lot of amendments that came at the end. A lot of those, there was just we weren't quite there yet. So it did fail to pass through both chambers in the last session. Now,
before you move on, I'm going to jump ahead a little bit and then we'll go back. Just so people are aware, because it's just like so foreign to people like here in Montana or any other state where Sunday hunting's like always been legal. Like, what are some of the things that the opposition is saying, like, this is why we shouldn't have Sunday hunting? Because I've heard some of the arguments in the past, and they're like, some of them are really like ludicrous, but like, what are they coming to these legislators saying this is why we shouldn't have Sunday hunting?
I've heard all kinds of things. I've heard stories of how bad trespassing is going to become by adding one more day to hunt. I've heard hunting accidents. I've heard that there'll be no whitetails left in Pennsylvania if we allow folks to hunt on Sundays.
They can't even sell all the leftover doe tags that they have now.
Absolutely. Yeah. I mean, and all of those things have proven to be false. We saw, really no increase in hunting related shooting incidents. With harvest rates are pretty much, on parallel with what other neighboring states have had. I know some of the things I've seen was like Ohio, Delaware, when they introduced Sunday hunting, they saw, 3 to 5% maybe in that first year or two, and then everything kind of stabilized after that. They've got plenty of deer. I can personally attest to that, at least in Delaware, which I've hunted extensively. Plenty of deer in those states. Certainly when we added those 3 Sundays in Pennsylvania, lots and lots of whitetails left in the woods. All of those kind of things that we had heard, really all of those proved to be false.
Great. So moving on to 2025, tell us about this year.
Yeah, so 2025 was a little bit different. So we've got a lot of learnings, both, hunting conservation groups, certainly us at BHA. We really understand kind of at this point how this pathway has taken us, and we know what it's going to take to be able to get this thing through the legislature and onto the governor's desk. Representative Steele and Senator Laughlin introduce almost identical bills. I think we all knew, as I said, we all knew what it was going to take to get to the governor's desk. So that language was already incorporated right out of the gate. We had strong support from BHA, from other hunting conservation groups. At this point, we had the support of the agricultural community, specifically the Pennsylvania Farm Bureau, and we had strong support from the Pennsylvania Game Commission. So Representative Steele's House Bill 1431 becomes the official vessel for Sunday hunting. It flies through both chambers. July 9th, the governor signs it into law, which is, for me, one of my most honorable moments in my entire hunting career. I can't express the gratitude that I have for everybody who worked on this bill and how much this is going to change. I would argue this might be the most significant change to hunting in Pennsylvania in my lifetime and in maybe many lifetimes. Oh,
for sure. For people that can't wrap their head around it, both Seth and I grew up hunting in Pennsylvania, and like as a kid, like with school and sports, like hunting time is just like extremely limited. I'm sure it had to be the same way for you. Like in the fall, I was going to practice after school. Like maybe I'd get home in time to hunt for an hour before it got dark. You know, if you're in sports and you're doing something on Sunday, or maybe you've got a job or whatever, like not having Sundays was just like brutal as a kid for me. I'm sure it had to be the same.
Oh yeah, if you were back in those days, if you were just a rifle hunter, the rifle season started on a Monday.
Yep.
And then, which most schools in Pennsylvania get that day off for the first 2 days off. So you got the hunt that, and then after that you had two more weekends.
Yep.
So basically, if you were just a weekend warrior, you had
2 days.
2 other days to hunt.
Wow.
Yep. Absolutely. I mean,
it's like for people out here in Montana, 5 weeks of rifle season. You know, it's crazy.
Yep.
It's a huge win, man. What is the what's the vibe from the hunting community? Is it like, I assume everyone's like fist pumping and high fiving out there?
Oh, for sure. I mean, I'm sure that there's, there might be other opinions out there, but everything that I've seen, everything I've heard is 100% positive. I don't think I've talked to anyone who isn't completely stoked. As soon as this passed and got signed into law, my phone, my email lit up, my social media, everybody's stoked. Pennsylvania hunters have been calling for this change for a long time. And one of the really cool things is to see everybody so engaged. It's awesome to see hunters getting together and agreeing that this is something that we need to affect this change, and jumping on board and signing those letters and making those phone calls and just getting engaged and just in conversation about how important this really is for all of us, for opportunity. It's everything has been positive from everyone I've talked to. And to add to that positivity, our game commissioners meet on July 28th. One of the top agenda items there, maybe the top agenda item, is to add, I think it's a total of 10 more Sundays onto the calendar for the 2025 season. So if this goes through, which certainly we hope it's going to, from September through December, we're going to have a lot more Sundays to hunt.
So explain that, because like a lot of people probably saw the headline that the governor signs this into law, but it's like not been implemented yet, right?
Yeah,
so like it's still got, like, the regulations still have to change, the season dates have to be adjusted, things like that. So like it's not like the board has to decide how this legalizing Sunday hunting is actually implemented.
Absolutely. Yeah, absolutely. So the law repeals the ban on Sunday hunting, but it's of course left to our game commissioners to make the decisions and to set our seasons and bag limits. So they have to actually approve the changes on what Sundays we're going to hunt. So that's really what their objective is there. And it also takes 60 days for the law to take effect. So once that 60 days is up, then they can actually put those Sundays into place once it officially becomes law. And the law
if that board of commissioners were to be like, it's legal now, but we're only going to give you 3 more, like they're going to be like, there's going to be like a revolt in Pennsylvania.
Maybe. Yeah. Hunters want to hunt, right?
Yeah. So hopefully they do the right thing and just give you all 10 of those Sundays, which is basically mean, all fall you can go hunt whenever you want.
Yeah, which would that would be awesome. I mean, it really means a lot to me personally. Of course, I want to be in the woods as much as possible. I have 2 student athletes at home, so my weekends are pretty well taken up.
Right.
We've got fall baseball, we've got soccer, all those kind of things. So yeah, I want to be able to spend as much time in the woods as I can.
For sure. Adam, before we go, I want to give you a little time to plug BHA's Muster in the Mountains event that's coming up soon. You want to tell us about that?
Absolutely. So Muster in the Mountains, this is kind of our, kind of East Coast rendezvous, if you will. We have this August 1st to 3rd this year. It's at Westkill Brewing in Westkill, New York. It's up in the Catskills. It's a beautiful area. You come out, meet BHA Vice President of Operations, Frankie McBurney Olson. We've got some great events planned. We've got a 3D archery shoot. The New York chapter is representing with some interesting demonstrations. They've got one on saddle hunting. I think they have one that I think is really cool on DIY taxidermy. And the PHA chapter is going to be represented by my good friend Ethan Breininger, who's going to do a flintlock muzzleloader introduction. I personally hunted flintlocks with Ethan. He's a guy who really knows his stuff. He's a great instructor. I'm sure that that's going to be a fantastic event. And you can find details for that at backcountryhunters.org. Go to our events page. We have a direct link there for it.
Great.
Cool. Sounds fun.
So you're not able to make it to that one?
I'm not sure if I'm going to be there. I might be there for part of it. I do have plans on Sunday, but so we'll see.
I'm sure there'll be a little partying at night too.
I would say so. Yes.
If you're in that part of the country, go check it out. Thanks a lot, Adam. We may check back with you in a couple months to see how this Sunday hunting thing is actually implemented.
Yeah. Hey, I'd absolutely love the opportunity. I really appreciate you guys having me on.
All right. Thanks a lot, man.
See you, Adam. Thanks.
Thanks.
Good news, but hopefully it's great news here in a couple of months.
If the PGC commissioners don't implement that, it's
gonna be... You remember Joel, my buddy Joel.
Oh, yeah.
He's like, those guys, I don't trust them. They're going to screw it up. Which with some game commission boards or wildlife boards, it's tough with those people these days, man.
Yeah.
But hopefully it just ends up being more good news. All right, guys. Next up, we got a top 3 segment. We do these now and then where we share various top 3 lists, things like favorite game meats, favorite favorite places to fish, things like that.
Always good.
I'm not letting you get away with it, Brody.
Phil, there's no pause in there for sound. I didn't see it.
Look at the light effect in the room.
Yeah, it's incredibly complex.
This gets me fired up.
It's not just me moving my finger on a slider back and forth.
Bravo.
Thanks, Phil. Thanks for sliding that in there.
It was really important. Everybody loved it, and it wasn't a waste of time.
Not at all. I forget how we do these. Do we have one person do all 3, Phil, or do we go
We go number 3, number 3, number 3, number 2, number 2.
Oh, yeah. Okay.
Gotcha.
Okay.
All right, Corinne, we're going from number 3 to your favorite.
Okay.
Right? So
yeah. So I'm gonna switch this up. My number 3 is gonna be Brody was giving me crap for this earlier, because I think my scenario here misunderstands maybe what they taste like. But I had put black-tailed jackrabbit in Arizona.
Well, I was more making fun of you because we got plenty of jackrabbits right here. But either way, it's it's your choice.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, I just the Sonoran Desert atmosphere is an area I've only been to once, but really, really loved it. They look just fun to get after.
When you watch one of those things covering ground, it's pretty impressive.
Oh man, I've been hunting deer in eastern Montana, and I glass up a jackrabbit, and I watch him just run in a straight line for miles.
Oh yeah,
what are you doing?
Yeah, it looks like the perfect thing if you have, I don't know, AD, you're just, it's just a different kind of focus would be required. And also, I guess I'm mistaken that they probably don't taste like cottontail bunnies.
Definitely not. A stronger flavored, darker meat, which, I've eaten them. Not my favorite. Not when I got deer, elk in the freezer.
Yeah,
but
sure.
I'm sure I'll catch some hell for saying that. But, yeah. But look, man, it doesn't have to be about me. It's your bucket list, right?
Yeah.
Seth, what's your number 3?
My number 3 is hunting Rios in Oklahoma.
Why Oklahoma?
It's a state I've never been to, and I want to get a Rio to complete my slam.
Mm-hmm.
So
the nice thing about those Rios, because I used to hunt them in southwestern Nebraska. They've got them in Colorado too, but I didn't hunt them much out there. But the cool thing about those Rios, it's almost bad for those turkeys, right? Because It's like open country, just wide open, and then like Cottonwood Creek and river bottom.
Yeah.
So like,
you know where they're at.
You know where they're at. Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah. And that was it. That when I used to hunt them in that kind of country in Nebraska, it was super fun hunt.
I was torn between Oklahoma and I really want to hunt turkeys in Mississippi one of these days.
You want to go on a super hard turkey hunt.
Yeah. But I've killed Easterns before, so I really want to get that Rio.
Yeah, for sure.
What about you, Brody?
Let's see. This is number 3 was a tough one for me because I wanted to make it a fishing trip. And I really want to go like north of the Arctic Circle in Alaska and fish those sheefish.
Oh yeah.
But if I was like had to choose, it would be to go down to Panama to fish for those giant Cubera snapper. Like God, I'm just like fascinated. And you catch other cool stuff down there like rooster fish, and it's not like blue water offshore fishing.
Yeah.
Like you're fishing close to shore, and these big rock piles coming out of the ocean, and there's jungle, and like it just seems super cool. Like that's like fishing wise, I would probably choose that over sheepfish in Alaska.
Nice.
For sure.
Yeah, that sounds wicked fun.
Back to Corinne's crazy stuff.
I love how your guys' bucket list is like kind of grand and
Oh, those Cubera snapper get
huge.
Yeah. But anyway, back to Corinne's crazy stuff.
My B is iguana in Florida.
Nice.
I kind of expect nothing less.
Yeah.
Out of you, Corinne.
Like, I think more of it is about tasting different game species that I haven't tasted before, and then that leads the kind of different.
Sure, and you'd be doing some good work taking those invasive green iguanas out.
Right. I mean, I've also heard that they're very, very tasty.
Yeah, I've heard that too.
Probably not a super hard hunt.
No, but that's you'd
you
fill
just
up a boat
see 'em
with
in
those
trees
things.
And you air gun them. Or
I've seen on Instagram a couple times. I don't know if this dude has like an actual guide service for shooting iguanas, but he has a bird dog, like a wire hair pointer or some bird dog. And that bird dog goes around in the boat with him, and they'll crack an iguana on the bank, and that dog rockets out of the boat and grabs them and brings them back.
That seems more fun.
Yeah.
Okay. I've just evolved my.
I'm a little torn on the iguana thing because when I was in college, I had a pet iguana.
Aw, what was his name or her name?
God, I can't even remember now.
Chuck.
That's a great name for her.
And he had that iguana had like I had this big chunk of driftwood. I just let him run around my apartment, but he would always. I had this chunk of long driftwood in the corner he'd climb up on. And it was right above one of those old radiators, and they like that
so
heat.
Like the heat.
And that thing would like launch onto that radiator. And a couple times he'd like break an arm or a leg or something. And he'd always heal up eventually. But eventually I had to leave and I couldn't take him with me. I'm going to get in trouble for saying this. Anyway,
you're part of the problem, Brody?
I gave him to my buddy to care after this thing. And he just got to the point where he had busted so many legs he couldn't get around anymore. And so my buddy put him in the middle of winter, put him in a pizza box and threw him in the dumpster.
Oh,
jeez.
Right? Which for a reptile isn't a bad way to go. They just get cold and go to sleep.
Oh, yeah. I thought
I'm
going
to
to
catch
say,
so much hell for saying
I thought you
that.
said we just released into the wild, and I was going to say, part of the invasive problem. But
no.
No,
he had a good
you were in
life.
Pennsylvania.
Yeah.
I should have eaten him, I guess.
Yeah, no waste.
Yeah.
Seth,
my
get me out of trouble.
my B is fishing in Norway.
Fun.
Yeah. It's kind of like the ocean fishing there, from what I gather, is kind of like fishing Southeast Alaska, but everything just seems so much bigger.
Yeah, and those fjords that's super cool looking country.
Oh, it looks awesome. Yeah, there's like just a big fishing community there, and then interior stuff. There's like those zander and those big ass perch. And,
Yep.
Yeah, it just looks like a fishing paradise over there.
Wow.
Yeah, and the people in Norway are like the happiest people in the world.
Yeah.
Man.
Yeah.
It'd be a cool trip. Where are we at? My second?
Yeah, your second.
My second would be bighorn sheep right here in Montana. it's definitely a species of big game that I get to see a lot, never get to hunt. I mean, this is like a lot of people will have bighorn on their list, right? So, hopefully someday it'll happen. Who knows if it will? I'm going to keep trying, but like that's kind of like the glam species that interests me the most. Like once in a life, because I got a moose last year, but like bighorn sheep are even harder to get tags for.
What's the percentage now? 0, 0.
Oh, it depends where you're at, but it's like point nothing to like 1% maybe is like a high draw odds hunt.
And here in Montana they're cutting tags more.
Well, there's problems with pneumonia. I mean, there's problems with the pneumonia everywhere, but I'm still applying in Colorado, but I got higher hopes for Montana.
Okay. We're going to keep our fingers crossed for you, Brody.
Someday, yeah. Yeah, I almost like caved and was like, oh, I'm just going to put my points towards a bighorn U tag. But then I had enough points where I'm like, that's just silly.
Yeah.
You know what I mean?
Might as well keep going at this point.
Yep. All right. Moving on to number 1 of Corinne's crazy bucket list.
Okay. So for really, really going like dream experience, I would love to be on a commercial boat in Japan, just seeing what the fishermen there do to get bluefin.
Are you talking about those ones where they just drop it in, flip them over their back, drop it in? Have you seen those?
No, I have. Just like the biggest. I just want to see like big ass fish.
Yeah.
Because
like
I don't know that
tasty fish. Maybe
I'm not sure that the Japanese are the ones doing all the commercial fishing for bluefin.
Okay.
I think they're coming from they
Russia,
get shipped.
Or like
No, like here there's bluefin
West Coast.
West and East.
Okay.
And I know like there are other places, but I don't know, like maybe I'm wrong, but I think like a lot of the bluefin that ends up in Japan is coming, like they overnight those things.
Shoot.
They flash freeze them, send them to sushi markets, and then there's this big bidding process.
Yeah, right. So those are not coming out of the Pacific waters right there. Well, then
maybe, but maybe someone in the chat
if I'm mistaken
knows.
there, that's why I had a real number 1. My real number 1.
Backup plan.
Sea cucumbers in Alaska.
Oh.
I want to be at the shack and just watch Corinne wandering around, filling up a wheelbarrow with sea cucumbers.
That'll be me. I'll put on like an 8mm suit and just spend the entire afternoon like diving in shallow water.
You don't even need to dive for them. You will.
Yeah.
You will foul hook them when you're halibut fishing.
Yeah.
And there's places where at low tide you can just go pick them up.
Yeah. That'll be me.
Sure.
I'll focus on nothing else but wheelbarrows full of sea cucumbers.
And you can be the like cleaning specialist.
Yeah, I was gonna say, after
that's how you break into the fish cleaning table. Like you have to graduate to it, and you start by cleaning sea cubes.
No, I'll have fun doing that all day.
After that first wheelbarrow that you cleaned, you're gonna be like, I am done.
Well, then I'll start the other method of taking care of those is just air drying them. You know, Asian market, like dried dried.
And then do they just rehydrate them to eat them?
Exactly, and they'll eat the whole thing. You know, the slimy wart bit and all. It's unlike
really.
Yeah. It's not. You're actually just not cleaning them. You're purging them of the mucky stuff that's inside.
There's a thing that those things do. If they sit in the bottom of your boat long enough, they basically turn inside out. And it is the grossest thing.
Oh, yeah.
Interesting.
Yeah.
Yeah.
But they are, man.
They're
those
good.
Fried cuke strips
they
are good.
are good.
For sure. Well, that's interesting, Corinne. Out of all the stuff you could pick, I love it.
I love how my bucket list are like probably easily accomplished things.
Well, yeah.
Then I'll go. Even
you could fly
bigger and
into
badder.
Ketchikan and walk right from the airport right down to the water's edge and get yourself some cucumbers.
Yep. Seth's interested in something a little bigger than a sea cucumber for his number one.
Yep, my number one's moose, interior Alaska. That ridge hunt that we've all done is awesome. Love it. But I want to go further north slope, north of the Arctic Circle.
Yep.
Just check out the biggest reason is just because I want to go up there and see that country.
Totally.
But I also want to get a moose.
No, that ridgetop hunt is fun. The place where Steve's currently locked in is like, there's like one spot, right?
Yeah.
And that stuff, like you're sitting there that stuff up on the North Slope's more open.
Yep.
Glassable, hikeable, all that stuff. So I could see that being a super fun hunt. Someday I'll go back and do a float hunt for them.
Yeah, that would be fun too. I've done the float stuff, which is awesome because you're just looking at new country every day.
Yep.
But yeah, I guess more so I just want to be on that North Slope
for sure.
to see that country.
Definitely. Mine number one could take place same place as your moose hunt. I want to take my boys to do a caribou hunt. Not necessarily because it's like this super challenging hunt. Like you're probably going to get one, right?
Yeah.
But to be able to watch that migration is like it's one of the coolest things. Like just for days, just thousands of caribou rolling by. And granted, you got to hit it right to experience that. But it's like the most impressive thing I've ever seen in nature.
Wow.
Like by far.
Wow.
Just like waves of those things going by day after day. And I don't necessarily care about getting one myself, but yeah, I'd love to take my boys up for a fly-in caribou hunt
that'd
to
be fun.
Alaska. Yeah.
Awesome.
Yep. Cool. All right, Phil. Let's see what the chat has to say about sea cucumbers.
Nothing about sea cucumbers so far.
Jackrabbits.
Yeah, get your comments in while Corinne's here. But Nathan asks, Seth and Corinne, what was the best thing you guys ate in Africa, and what was the weirdest?
Go for it.
God, it's so weird. Africa has everything we ate in Africa was just like the best
So good.
table fare you'll
my
ever
gosh,
come
so
across. One thing that stuck out in my mind, which surprised me, was the warthog backstraps,
that was
the tenderloins.
tasty as heck. Yeah.
Yeah, it's just I don't know what it was.
Was it fatty?
It wasn't fatty. It was just it was very similar to just eating like pork tenderloin without the fat, but just like the sauce they made with that meal, and it was just the whole thing was just phenomenal.
It was very clean tasting meat. You know, it's just like a delicious, pork chop.
Yeah.
Something I heard Steve mention in passing the other day. I wasn't involved really in the conversation, but he said like everything is cooked well done. Like they don't do like medium rare there.
Yeah.
Which was surprising.
Well,
to me.
they did, the chefs there did do like the back straps and stuff.
Oh, they did?
Yeah. They did it like medium rare.
Or medium.
But he said there's a lot of meat that was just cooked to oblivion.
Yeah. That's I guess the way that folks over there are used to eating meat. Some of it's like charred on the outside. It's all well done. And that they don't really like meat prepared the way a lot of us do.
Yeah, I think a lot of the meat that we ate is not how they typically prepare things.
It wasn't exact. Yeah, it was more, maybe how they thought we would like it, slightly Western, Eastern, preparations.
So if you could like have an elk in the freezer or some of that stuff.
Oh, Seth, what about the rowan?
Oh, the rowan, yeah.
The rowan. Steve
which is an antelope
species.
species.
Yeah, it's an antelope species. Steve shot this beautiful old bull, and I think that might have been the oldest of all the 4 that he harvested. I think they said like 11, like at least 10, 11 or 12 years
like
old
that.
maybe. And I thought that was the most tender meat.
Yeah. Oh,
and
it's
it
so
was
tender.
sweet. It was, that 5 times better than elk, like than the best elk I've ever tasted, in my opinion.
a phenomenal tasting antelope here. Like it just most of it's just all tender and tastes good. That's like how everything is there.
That's super cool.
Yeah.
And it's great that you guys got to like eat a bunch of stuff while you were there.
Yeah, that's it's cool that you get to share that meat with all the villages and the people there, but it may be nice just to bring all that stuff.
Sure. Yeah.
Selfishly, we'd be like spreading, Cape Buffalo oxtail, Cape Buffalo tail stew around.
Oh yeah, we had
delicious.
buffalo oxtail soup the one night. God, that was good too.
Yeah.
All kinds of like fat and like
Gelatinous.
Yeah, just gelatinous. Yeah,
It's
real
good stuff. Who's next, Phil?
This question seems silly to me, but I could just be very ignorant. Maybe it's a question about humidity, but since you and Seth have both hunted a lot in the East and the West, Zach asks, should a Western game hunter store hunting clothes similar to Midwestern or Eastern deer hunters as far as scent control is concerned?
Oh, man. I don't worry about that stuff.
I store my hunting clothes in a musty basement.
Yeah. I definitely think, like, if you're talking spot and stock rifle hunting, there's no reason in the West. There's no reason to be paranoid about like storing your clothes with a pine bough outside or something like that.
Yeah, I don't do the whole scent control thing much.
Cool. Braden commented that he hit a deer with his truck at the same time we went live today. So,
was it edible? Is it still there?
I don't know. Braden, if you're still watching, go ahead and follow up, but you're probably dealing with something else right now. I don't know if there are a lot of moose hunters in this room right now, but Vermont Millennial Homesteader says, my wife and I both drew a coveted moose tag here in Vermont. I declined my permit to hunt with her as a sub-permittee. Any tips on moose hunting with a cow-only tag?
Well, I don't know what kind of country they're in, like if you can glass them. I don't know if it's the hunts during the rut. What I would do is, like, right now is the time to be out looking for those things. Like, I don't know anything about that area and hunting moose in Vermont, so I would be doing a lot of scouting.
Yeah, I know some dudes that have hunted in Maine, and it was kind of like a lot of covering.
Mm-hmm.
Like
yeah, it's probably
timber
similar
company,
country.
Like covering a lot of roads, like in timber.
Looking for timber cuts and stuff.
Yeah.
Yeah, go find them.
Luke says, Seth, let's get an update on the Alaska shack. You got it fixed up nicer than the neighbors? Are you getting some use out of it?
Oh, yeah. It's fixed up fairly nice at the moment, at least the outside. Here in a couple of weeks, we're putting a roof on the back porch, which will be nice.
That'll be real nice.
Yeah, be able to hang some wet stuff out there.
God, man, all the upgrades, Seth. You're like the high roller in the Cove now. You got a new boat, got a fixed up shack, making Steve look bad. I know.
I'm just trying to make the neighbors jealous.
Let's do one more, and then we can hit some more at the end of the show here. Joe says, what's Phil's favorite game he's tried so far? This is such a boring answer, but I've tried a decent amount since I've worked here. Like, I've had gator, I've had mountain lion, all kinds of stuff. But when Michael Hunter from Toronto, what's his restaurant's name again?
Antler.
Yeah.
He came in here to shoot some stuff with us, and Brody brought in some elk steak he had. And Michael, just like with his hands tied behind his back and blindfolded, he not literally, but he could have done it in his sleep. He pulled out some single burner induction burner and made the most incredible steak I've ever had with like this huckleberry sauce on top. I just like it melted in my mouth, and I could not believe it. And he just acted like it's just what he does for a living, which is literally what he does for a living.
You know, but I deserve partial credit there, Phil.
It was a great taste in elk, Brody. Yeah.
Can I make one live correction? Jim Heffelfinger texted me that
I knew it was coming from Heffelfinger.
The
man.
antelope jackrabbit is the one I want. And he said we can make that happen when the rabbit populations recover because it's the hemorrhagic virus that knocked out the population.
I thought he was going to contact
antelope
us.
Jackrabbit and not black.
I thought he was going to contact us saying they're the best thing to eat on the planet.
I know he eats them, so.
Mm-hmm.
Man,
Thanks,
Jim's
Jim.
on it.
Yeah,
Yep.
thanks, Jim.
Yep.
Thanks for watching, Jim.
Hi, Jim.
Okay. Let's move on to our next interview.
Let's do it.
We got Ted up.
Ted's up.
Okay, next up we got Ted. It's Coch, right, Ted? Ted
That's
Coch?
right. Yes.
Ted Coch, the executive director of the North American Grouse Partnership. Ted, thanks for joining us today. Before we get started with the conversation, I want to give the listeners a little background information about why we've got you on the show today. We've been seeing, this is like not news, like we've been seeing declines in sage-grouse populations for years, and we've talked about it here. We did a MeatEater television show that talked a lot about it. There's this like iconic species of sagebrush prairie, like across their range in the western United States, and they've been struggling. Which like maybe it would come as a surprise to like some bird hunters in places like Montana, Wyoming, Colorado, where you can still go out and hunt them. Some people might be surprised that they're like not doing well in places. Some news came out that the sage grouse were officially declared extinct in the state of North Dakota. And it's just really, news like that is obviously a huge bummer, but it's also part of this bigger picture concerning what's going on with sage grouse in the last however many years. So Ted, just to like clarify your bona fides, besides being the executive director of the North American Grouse Partnership, why don't you first like tell us about your experience working with endangered species? And then we'll kind of get into what's going on with sage grouse all over the place.
Yeah, so thanks for having me on. Before I became the executive director of the North American Grouse Partnership, I worked for 30 years as an endangered species biologist for the U.S. Fish and Wildlife Service, including 5 years working on sage grouse conservation, specifically back in the early 2010s when we were evaluating whether to list sage grouse under the Endangered Species Act. And so from there, I went on actually and ended my career in Albuquerque, New Mexico, where I worked a lot on lesser prairie chickens, and I retired, and the board of the Grouse Partnership asked if I wanted to apply to be executive director, and I thought, no, and here I am. So,
here you are talking
it's hard to
us.
quit. It's hard to quit.
Yeah, I hear you. So you can correct me if I'm wrong here, but like what happened in North Dakota and with other sage grouse populations that are struggling, like the Gunnison sage grouse in Colorado, that's largely related to issues surrounding loss of sagebrush prairie habitats. Is that correct?
Exactly right. Yep. It's called, the scientific term is sage steppe. Steppe is S-T-E-P-P-E. Steppe means grassland. So sage steppe, sage grassland, loss of habitat. In fact, Brody, grasslands, including sagebrush steppe grasslands, are the most threatened ecosystem on the continent and in the world.
Yep.
And so this inexorable decline and loss of prairie grouse species, including sage grouse in North Dakota, is just a part of a much larger long-term trend that the North American Grouse Partnership is committed to trying to stop and reverse.
Can you give folks a sense of how common and how widely distributed sage grouse were at one time compared to where they're at now?
Sure. Yeah. Sage grouse sage grouse are sagebrush obligates, so they have to have sagebrush to survive. And pretty much anywhere where there was enough sagebrush, you'd have sage grouse. And that was across, I think, at least 13 western states historically. But now the range has been reduced by roughly 50%, and the population of sage grouse has been reduced by almost 3/4. So,
what's the best estimate? Like at a high point, how many do you I know you can't pinpoint it, but how many millions of them were there?
Yeah, don't know. I know some folks have speculated that. It's really hard to say, but many millions.
Yeah,
several million. And now we're down to just a few 100,000.
Gotcha. Can you explain? We kind of hinted at this earlier, but you can explain why, it's not just that sage grouse are on the decline, their decline also has implications for other species that use the same habitat as sage grouse, like pronghorn and mule deer and songbirds and all other, a whole host of species. So, can you kind of touch on that a little bit more?
Yeah, all of us hunters know that mule deer have been in decline for a long, long time, and it's no accident that they've been in decline along with our grassland habitats. And in some places, game managers are getting particularly concerned about the continued loss of mule deer. Pronghorn, I mean, what I like to challenge us hunters to think about is, well, maybe you don't hunt prairie grouse very much, but you love mule deer, you love pronghorn. How far away are we from a scientist finding a local population of pronghorn, say, in part of the southwestern Great Plains, and we end up listing that under the Endangered Species Act?
Right.
Keeping in mind, pronghorn are already listed in Arizona and I think maybe even California under the Endangered Species Act. So this is not far-fetched. All of these other species, then you've got cassin sparrow and bobolinks and monarch butterflies and regal fritillary butterflies. That's a hard one for me to say. But all of these grassland-dependent species are declining along with prairie grouse. Now, prairie grouse are a great umbrella species because they require they're a landscape scale species. They require such large patches of intact grasslands. And so we're hopeful in the Grouse Partnership that if we can conserve prairie grouse populations, that we can help conserve mule deer and pronghorn and everything else.
Yeah, the chips will just fall into place. So like, what are your main goals? Like, what are you guys doing to help sage grouse and those prairie habitats?
Yeah, so actually two slightly different prongs there, because one of the, I guess, differences, I don't know how much of a benefit it is with sage grouse, is that there's a fair amount of public land that provides good sage grouse habitat. But even there,
luckily it didn't all get sold off.
Yeah, exactly. Thanks to a lot of good work by hunters and anglers and others.
Yeah.
But even there, even where you have, say, 80% of a patch of habitat is public land, some of the most important habitat, the lower elevation stream bottoms, the deeper soils, the wet meadows, are still privately owned. And so even
that's
there,
very common out here in the West.
Exactly right. And so, but really with sage grouse, the biggest drive, here's a sad fact of the whatever 50 million, 40 million acres we have left of sage grouse habitat, we're losing sagebrush habitat at the rate of 1.3 million acres per year.
And what's happening there? Like building houses, like what, just like residential, commercial, all kinds of different development?
Well, yes, all of that is happening, but in a word, it's cheatgrass.
Wow. Okay.
Cheatgrass. Now, keep in mind, a lot of your listeners may know the name Aldo Leopold in a book that he wrote, published in 1949, called A Sand County Almanac. In that book, Aldo Leopold has a chapter called Cheat Takes Over, where he foresees what is happening to sagebrush ecosystems today. That's how visionary this guy was. Okay.
For people who don't know what we're talking about, explain what cheatgrass is and what it's doing.
Yeah, so cheatgrass is an invasive annual grass from Asia that was accidentally imported here to North America, and it's taking over in areas like the western, like the Great Basin, the western half of the range of sage grouse, and even is becoming more of an issue into Wyoming and some of the eastern parts of the range. And so cheatgrass is fire loving. It's designed to burn frequently. Sagebrush is not. Okay. And so the driver for the 1.3 million acres of loss of habitat a year, a lot of people will say it's fire and invasives because they see the fire and they say, well, that's the cause, and it's caused by this invasive species. We at the North American Grouse Partnership, we disagree. It is not fire and invasives. It's invasives and fire.
Gotcha.
And what I mean by that is fire has been a part of sagebrush ecosystems for millennia. The difference is cheatgrass. The reason why cheatgrass exists is chronic overgrazing. What Aldo Leopold said, chronic soil disturbance. What Aldo Leopold said is it's overgrazing, which is true back in the days, in the 1940s. Remember the Taylor Grazing Act was passed to try to get hold of massive overgrazing on public lands way back when. And that's still a legacy today, but there's other disturbances like ATV use and other things. So, so it's the cheatgrass driven by fire and all of these other things that's causing that the bulk of the 1.3 million acres per year of sage grouse habitat loss.
Gotcha.
Wow. That's crazy.
And so that's your main focus. Like what does that like mean though for like, is there, like, how do you get rid of it? Can you get rid of it?
Yeah, no, you can't. You drive I-80 through central Nevada, that's always going to, well, as far as I'm alive,
yeah,
you guys do. It's probably always going to look like it does. These golden stands of grass that look pretty to the untrained eye, but it's all cheatgrass. But at higher elevations, other native grasses and plants can win out. But here's the good news: most of grasslands, not just for sage grouse, but greater prairie chickens, lesser prairie chickens, sharptails, are managed as rangelands, both public and private land. And ranchers don't want cheatgrass either. And so what the Grouse Partnership's goal is to empower ranchers to recognize the opportunity they have to avoid chronic soil disturbance through overgrazing, which is less of an issue now, but site specifically on a lower elevation south-facing slope could still be an issue. And so our goal is to work with the people that manage the lands and even own the lands, the ranchers, to empower them to make sure that they're avoiding chronic soil disturbance in the form of overgrazing. And then other things, ATV use. One of the vectors that spreads cheatgrass is county road crews blade the side of a gravel road every spring, take up the native plants. What comes in behind it? Cheatgrass. They do it in the name of fire breaks along the roads, but then end up providing perfect habitat for cheatgrass, the most fire-loving of all species, to grow in alongside the road. So there's a lot of opportunities to do better.
Great. Well, before there's not just sage grouse out there, and you guys, I assume, work with other grouse species. So I want to ask you if there's any major conservation issues surrounding other species of grouse. Like we've got 5 species of grouse here in Montana that hunters can go after, and we had a boom year for sharptails last year. Our dusky and rough grouse seem to be doing well. But like back east in states like Pennsylvania, rough grouse are really struggling.
Yeah.
The flip side of that is I just heard, I think yesterday, that Wisconsin is opening up a hunting season for sharptail grouse after a long period of them being off limits to hunters. So you got anything for us about other grouse species?
Yeah, and so you got it right, Brody. Rough grouse back east not doing well because of reforestation of lands that used to be either open meadow or for rough grouse, what they like is the edge habitat between the meadow and the timber. A lot of people value trees more than grass and think that anybody trying to cut a tree is a bad person, and so rough grouse are in trouble because of that social phenomenon, which is interesting. Back east, but out west, here, same thing here where I live here in Idaho. We got great rough grouse habitat, and they're doing pretty well. And then for Sharpies in Wisconsin, what great news! They feel like they've been doing enough habitat work to rebuild populations enough to offer a few special tags to hunt Sharpies.
Yeah,
and that's good for them.
Yeah. Well, great, great having you on. What can people do to help you guys out before you go?
So, sage grouse, this news in North Dakota, well, I'll tell you an interesting story. I was talking to Jesse Kolar, the biologist for North Dakota Game and Fish, about this. He said, Ted, the sage grouse blinking out in North Dakota, sadly, is something that we've seen coming for some time.
Right.
He said, but what really scares him is that 30 to 50 years from now, sharp-tailed grouse in North Dakota might be in the same boat. Again,
for the same reasons, I'm assuming.
Yes, habitat. That's right. Grasslands are the most threatened ecosystem on the continent and in the world. But it's such a slow burn. It's like boiling the frog, right? You've heard that saying where you throw a frog into hot water, it jumps out. You throw it into cold water, turn on the heat, it'll die. It won't jump out. So, so it's like we're in this hot water, and it slowly gets hotter every year, and we're just not waking up to it. So what the Grouse Partnership really is focused on right now is trying to save lesser prairie chickens, which were recently listed under the Endangered Species Act. Keep in mind that as recently as 11 years ago, you could hunt for lesser prairie chickens, and today they're listed under the Endangered Species Act. And what we've done is we've reached out to the best landowner, rancher, conservationist heroes we could find in Kansas, Oklahoma, Texas, New Mexico, Colorado, and we've joined forces with them to pay them fair market value for the ecosystem services they have to provide on their healthy rangelands. Services like clean air and water, healthy soils, vegetation, wildlife habitat, carbon storage. They don't get paid for it. They get cost share programs, but it costs them money out of their pocket to save an endangered species. That's not right. If Americans want to save endangered species, they should pay for it. And that's what we're trying to do. 84% of remaining grasslands are privately owned. Most of those are rangelands. Ranching pays less than any other form of land use. It's no wonder why grasslands are the most threatened ecosystem. Renewable energy, energy transmission, oil and gas, farming, feedlots, even woodland habitats and leasing for hunting can pay more than ranching. And that's why grasslands are the most threatened ecosystem on the continent and in the world. We want to pay these landowners who want to save lesser prairie chickens and other prairie grouse species what it actually costs to keep grasslands in grass.
Well, great. Thanks for all the good work you're doing, and keep up the good work. And maybe we'll check back with you in a few months and see how things are going.
Well, thank you for having me and for asking great questions. Glad to be here.
Thanks again.
Thanks, Ted.
Okay. That's kind of some sad news there, but you got to pay attention to what's going on.
Yep.
We're going to lighten things up with a fan tip-off, and it says to pause for sound here, Phil.
HOTTIPOF, let's all do a hot tip-off. HOTTIPOF, let's all do a hot tip-off.
I trimmed that one down and made it shorter because even I was like, "This is too much."
Oh, I love that.
Not my favorite one of your your
hilarious.
song intros, Phil.
I know, but variety's the spice of life, Brody.
know. I'm just being honest.
That's fine.
Okay, if you're not familiar, the hot tip-off segment is where two of our listeners go head-to-head with competing nuggets of hunting and fishing wisdom, and then we decide which one is hotter. Before we watch these hot tips, if you've got a hot tip, take like 1 minute. Don't make it longer than a minute, or we'll toss it in the trash. And send it to radio@themeateater.com. As long as it's like what you feel useful tip that has like something to do with hunting, fishing, the outdoors, gear, whatever. We'll look at anything as long as it kind of falls under our umbrella. And put the subject line hot tip off in there, and it'll eventually get to where we can take a look at it, and you might make it on the show.
Oh, and I don't see it in the script here, Brody, but the live chat, will be deciding the winner of this.
Oh, we're not deciding.
You guys are not.
We're going to weigh in, though, Phil.
Yeah. Corinne, Seth, and Brody will weigh in. Maybe that will sway your vote. But I will open a poll.
My bad.
After the video, and you guys are going to choose the winner of the hot.
I like to influence the voters.
Yeah, that's good.
Yeah. All right. So for today, we're talking fishing with hot tip-offs today, and we've got David McMurray from Cairo. That says pronounced Cairo, Georgia. And Adam Smith, he's from somewhere in America. And they've got a couple of hot fishing tips. So roll the tape, Phil.
David McCurry.
Hey, MeatEater, this is David McCurry from Cairo, Georgia, and my hot tip is using a clam knife to scale brim. As you know, a clam knife is pretty dull, so that when you're putting pressure down on these big bluegill to remove the scales, the knife doesn't cut down through the skin into the meat, which makes the scaling process pretty difficult after that. Also, it has a real stiff blade, so that when you're pulling against these thick scales on a big bluegill, the blade does not flex, so you are able to pop the scales off relatively easy. And then the last thing I like about the clam knife is this rounded point. Once I remove the scales off the main part of the fish's body, I like to point my knife down to get along the edges of the fins. And
he's doing a great job.
When you do that with this clam knife, as opposed to a regular cleaning knife, you don't take a chance of stabbing the point down into the fish, again making it difficult to clean the brim.
Or into your hand.
So my hot tip, using a clam knife to scale big bluegill.
Interesting.
Adam Smith.
Hey, this is Adam Smith coming at you with a fishing tip straight from the lake. I'm out here walking the banks and I'm keeping a few bass. And I've got a great way for harvesting fish while you're walking. Instead of a chain stringer or a basket where you're having to carry it around, it's taking up space in your hands or hanging off of you, and your fish are going in and out of the water and getting all beat up, go down to the store, pick up for real cheap a backpack cooler, pack it with 3 or 4 or 5 pounds of ice, and carry your fish around on your back. It works great. The fish are right on you. Your hands are free. Fish aren't getting beat up. They're staying cool if it's hot out. It's a great way to keep fish while you're walking around. I hope you like the tip. Talk to you later.
And there you go.
I liked them both.
Yeah.
But as a kid who dragged a lot of fish around on a stringer, they're like dying and getting warm, and they look pretty bad by the time you get them home.
Yeah.
I like the cooler tip.
I like the cooler tip too. One time when I was a kid, I caught a bunch of trout one time in Pennsylvania and didn't have a stringer or anything. But I had one of those like the fishing vest that you wear in Pennsylvania.
It's got the back.
I threw the trout back there. Got home, pulled them out, filleted them up, and then a couple days later, like I washed it out. Thought so at least. A couple days later, I'm like, what in the hell is stinking? Got to looking around and figured out that I had left a trout.
Seth. Oh. Whoa.
Yeah.
What do you think?
Nice
Corinne?
fermented.
So the backpack would have been better.
Pretty close pull right now. It's neck and neck. So
I like the
try and influence
I like the
it.
clam knife technique.
I kind of figured you'd go that direction.
Yeah.
Here's why I think it's a good tip, but it's like it falls second for me. It's because like anglers in Wisconsin ain't buying clam knives to scale stuff. You know what I mean?
Or
they could, but there's a lot of tools you can use to scale a fish.
Right. Yeah. I mean, I think I'm looking at the clam knife in the same way I might like the back of a butter knife, or just like having a different, more blunter edge, tool to. Do you got enough info yet, Phil, or do we need to keep talking?
Yeah, it is neck and neck. So if you are in the chat and you have not voted, the poll is open. Get in there. You're living in a swing state right now.
Go ahead.
One thing I like about the clam knife is like I like finding something that's not meant for that thing and using it for that. Like catfish pliers.
Yep.
Like I think that's a crucial tool to have for a lot of fishing things.
Yeah.
Like I use those to pull bones out of salmon. I use them for filleting. It's just like it's not just made for.
You might be affecting the outcome here. While Phil's waiting for people to vote, our winner today is going to receive a MeatEater hat, hoodie, and T-shirt combo. And the T-shirt, Phil, do you got the graphic ready? The T-shirt is our new badass gnome T-shirt. It's almost archery season, so we made a shirt with a gnome making a real lifelike 3D unicorn archery target.
What is he like carving it out of a tree stump?
Yeah. He's making his own
sweet.
3D target.
You guys vote. Come on, folks.
And I think this shirt comes out tomorrow on the website. I'm not positive about that, but I think it's tomorrow. And they'll probably sell out pretty fast. So if you want one, you're going to want to hop on the website and get it ordered tomorrow.
All right, voting has slowed down, and someone has pulled ahead.
Okay, let's see what we got.
I'm going to go ahead and end the poll, and with 59% of the vote now, the winner is Adam with the backpack cooler.
The backpack.
Nice.
David, sorry, man. This is a great hot tip, but Adam wins here. We don't know where Adam is from. But we'll have to get in touch with him and contact him about his prize
He's keeping
package.
his fishing spots secret.
Yeah.
Casey thinks he's in the witness protection program.
I also like that you could throw some cold beers in that cooler too.
Totally, man. That's the thing, like keeping that fish cold.
Yeah.
And like, because it's just like if you're, like for a shore-bound angler, it's tough out there, man.
It is. Yeah.
It's not like being in a boat where you just like have room for a big cooler full of ice. So. I think it's a great tip as long as you're willing to lug the weight around.
Yep.
So that's it for that. We got our winner there. Are we going back to the chat one more time?
Yeah, chat's
Phil?
pretty light. So, but I'll hit a couple here. If you've got something stupid, even incredibly shallow, you have a great chance of being picked.
Yeah. I guess we're just not that interested.
Well, honestly, Mogor was getting the most questions in the chat. People kept asking him about Hungary. What's it like to live there? What kind of stuff does he eat? What's the game like?
We need to get that guy on.
Everyone said, like a couple people said, we should have him on as a guest.
Yeah.
Maybe we'll have him on for our year anniversary, which is coming up in a month, which is crazy to think about.
We totally should ask Mogor all kinds of questions about
we're going to have you on the show soon. Andreas asks Corinne what her favorite hunt or hunt adjacent trip has been since she's worked here thus far.
Ooh. I think I love the water so much, so I'm gonna have to give it to the Bahamas trip a couple years ago for Kimmy Werner's show. We were there with Cam Kirkconnell and Steve for her first I think it was the third episode of her series, and we did a podcast down there too. So it was watching them dive and spear, and Steve put me on my first fish that I was able to spear in very shallow water because I had a hard time holding my breath for so long to dive. But I would say that being in the ocean and watching those three pros do what they do, that was probably the most eye-opening, exciting, wonderful trip for me. Yeah.
Cool. Nate asks, any secret talents from us in the room that we just don't talk about because it's not a part of the 4 verticals? Do you guys have anything that's not hunting related that you pride yourself on?
Is Corinne's weird taxidermy?
I think that counts. I think that counts.
Like,
I haven't done a thing in a while. I probably need to go back and make something out of squirrels.
Seth, you got any hidden weird talents that we don't know about?
Not that I can think of off the top of my head.
That's the thing about working at MeatEater. Like, aside from me, like the people who are part of the crew, they work here because they're really their talent is they put on display here at the company.
Yeah,
I mean, I'd say you guys are handy as heck. No, I mean, like with building, with fixing stuff.
I fix stuff thanks to YouTube. I'm actually getting ready to rebuild my trolling motor.
Oh, are you?
Which is going to be
a project.
That's
a project. Yeah.
I mean, a lot of people don't close the gap between like going to YouTube and empowering themselves with the skills. They'll like call someone else. But so I'd say that you guys have that.
I'm real good at growing cucumbers, Phil. Like really good at growing cucumbers.
I would say tomatoes too. I think your tomatoes
they're
are
coming
much
in
better
too.
than Steve's
I
tomatoes.
forgot about that. Yeah, they're
I
definitely
remember
better.
your tomatoes.
Is your garden just kicking butt this year?
It's doing pretty good.
It does well every year. He brought in great lettuce the other year.
Mine's doing great.
Yeah, it's been a pretty good gardening year.
Green thumb Brody.
Let's see. There was one about just general Colorado elk archery tips from Andrew.
Yeah, I don't know where to start.
I know, that's the thing. I said even if they were shallow, Brody.
I don't know where to start.
Walk further than most people will
great.
walk.
That works. Getting into berry season, do you guys forage berries?
Oh.
And what's your favorite one?
I'll tell you a little bit about my berry patch in my backyard this year.
Exploding.
Did you guys transplant wild ones like Steve did, or did you just grew from?
They came with the house when we bought the place, yeah. But we've expanded it just by letting them grow.
Yeah.
But I don't know. Our berry patch is maybe
what kind of berries?
Raspberries. It's maybe 30 feet long. Just like a row of raspberries, and we got probably close to 6 gallons of berries off of them this year.
That's nice.
And they just every day.
Wow.
Yeah, we pick them every single day.
How do you even keep them in a row? Aren't they like what do you call them? Not
it's
like they
you
grow
gotta,
and
oh yeah,
7
if
feet
I
away,
if I just let our yard go for a couple years, the whole damn thing would be raspberries. But we just pull them out and with the mower and stuff.
For wild berries, we try to get out. It's coming up on huckleberry season around here. That's the main thing around here for sure. In Colorado, we used to do service berries, which are okay, but they're very seedy. They got a seedy it's not a pit. They just have a lot of seeds, and they're good if you cook them down. And like, there's plenty of service berries around here, but compared to huckleberries,
I don't even know what a service berry looks like. Is it
bushy thing?
Are the actual berries like yellow?
They look they look like a blueberry almost.
Oh, okay.
Yeah.
Okay.
Yep.
We're gonna be hitting some blueberries here on Prince of Wales.
Yeah, we'll be. There'd probably be a lot of bears around because we'll be there during.
Yeah,
berry season.
I'm hoping it's not. It depends. Last year we were like kind of borderline late for the berries, which we might be too late this year. But I know with those up there, they get pretty wormy.
They go bad fast.
Yeah, we pull them, and you like if you let them soak for a little bit in some water, the worms come out, and then you can kind of whatever, throw them in some pancake batter. Or whatnot.
Yep.
Chase says, Flip Flop Flesher, I have a frozen beaver that I still need to take care of. I've never fleshed one myself. Should I buy a fleshing beam or try to build one? Have you ever?
Oh, you can build them pretty easily. My beam is like a chunk of that log siding that like only one side of it is actually, it's like dimensional lumber except for one side that's like rounded.
Yep.
So we just took that and kind of, tapered the tip down and then mounted it on a stand. The stand's probably the hardest part. You either got to know how to weld to build a stand, or there's other options. You could, mount it to like a big heavy stump or something like that.
You should do a video tutorial on building a...
Right.
Yeah, I could do that. Mine's a welded metal stand, but I've seen them where like guys have mounted them just to like, something heavy that's going to...
But you need that thing to get it done.
Yeah. For the most part. I've seen some guys where they'll just like throw them over their knee and like flesh them with a knife.
God, I'd stab myself.
That's just, Some guys are good at. John Hayes, the taxidermist, he does stuff like that.
Really?
He can do it real quick, but...
Master Butcher says, Phil, my son got cast as Gaston. Any tips to prep for such a character?
Phil, who's Gaston?
I'm guessing referring to Gaston from Beauty and the Beast. And I would say just watch a lot of Andrew Tate videos. No, for the love of God, don't do that. That was a joke.
Oh boy,
Phil with the fast one.
I would say a character like Gaston, who thinks he's the hottest shit in the world, but is actually not. When you walk on the stage, you want to project that you're the hottest shit in the world, but have like a secret character trait where he's like afraid of something very silly, like mice or spiders. And don't tell anyone, but just kind of think about that when you're on the stage, to kind of and maybe that insecurity pokes through. That's my tip.
Hot
That's
acting
deep
tips
advice
from
there.
Thespian
It was.
Phil.
It's almost like method acting.
Almost, yeah. And then just pretend to be Gaston for the next 3 months until you get on stage.
All right, is that it for today?
Let's call it. Let's call it there.
Okay.
It was a long show. It was a good one.
All right, we're almost done, but I got to ask you guys one more favor. Chester's real bored out in Wisconsin. He's got nothing to do. So we need you to send in some questions for Chester's Chetiquette series that we do here on the show, where he answers various outdoor-related ethical conundrums. Is there a Chetiquette email? I should have found this out.
There is not. They've
just
come
radio,
in.
probably.
Yeah, they've come in multiple ways, like sometimes to our regular inbox, but let's have them go to radio at we'll
the
do
meet-
that, and then just put it Chetiquette in the subject line.
All right, there you go. That's it for today. Thanks everyone for tuning in, and have a great weekend. We'll see you next week.
Later, folks.